สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome to Hot Thai Kitchen. Today I am going to take you back to my elementary school cafeteria in Thailand where they used to sell the most delicious little snacks called kai tao, which literally means turtle eggs. But don't worry, they're not actually turtle eggs. They are little sweet potato donut shaped in little balls, so they end up looking a bit like turtle eggs. Some people like to call them kai nok kra which means quail eggs, but they don't actually look like quail eggs, so I'm going with turtle eggs. And they are these sort of chewy, a little bit sweet, just so addictive and munchy. And it's actually really, really easy to make, especially considering donuts can be a bit tricky. So let's get started. Let's first talk the main ingredients, the sweet potato. So this recipe will work with any kind of sweet potato except, and this is so important, the orange flesh ones that in North America we typically call yams, okay? The problem with that is it's got the highest moisture content and it'll actually make the dough too wet for this particular recipe. If you do use those, you'll end up just having to add so much flour in order to be able to shape them, and then it's just not as good because then there's too much flour. So I will show you the 3 types that I have used successfully before. So this one is the one I'm using today. At my store, they call it Japanese yams. This one is super cool. Cut it open on the inside and it's like this marble effect, super cool. And this is the one that's available all the time, is the white flesh sweet potato. And if you have a different kind of sweet potato in your area that's not shown here, and when you steam it, it's not too wet, it's on the drier side, it'll probably work as well. Like for example, there's one that's sort of this long shape, but it's really dark purple on the inside. That works too, and it makes the most beautiful purple donuts. So I have just peeled my sweet potato and cut them into sort of 1-inch chunks. I'm going to steam them till they're fully cooked. And I am using this cool little steamer, which kind of looks like something from a sci-fi alien movie, but it works really well when you just want to steam a little bit of stuff. I'm going to pop these in a pot of water. Make sure the water does not come up above the rack, and you want to let them go for a full 10 to 15 minutes until they're completely soft. Now, when you test it, use a fork, not a knife. You don't want something sharp that would give you the idea that it's softer than it is. And just poke it, and there should be 0 resistance. You want this to mush really smoothly, so if it's still got a little resistance, you'll have a hard time with it. Transfer this onto a plate. Whoosh. Just like that. See, it should just go in completely easily with no effort. And it's so much fun. Yeah. Beautiful. All right, so now I'm gonna just transfer my sweet potato into here. The dough is very easy. I'm gonna just add some sugar and then just a little bit of salt. Whee! And I'm just gonna stir that in first so that the sugar dissolves. Baby food. Okay, and now we're gonna add our starches. So the first and most important starch is tapioca starch. This is what's going to give it that chewiness, bounciness. You know, think bubble tea. The pearls in bubble tea, that's made from tapioca starch, so that's sort of the bounciness it's gonna give us. This is the bag that it comes in. It's available at any Asian grocery store, or Latin American stores will also have this as well. Tapioca alone is a little too bouncy. We wanna like offset it with a little softness. So I'm gonna add some wheat flour. So it's just all-purpose flour. And, a little baking powder for a little airiness. With baking powder, I always like to sift it in because sometimes there are little clumps in it and I just want to avoid the risk of having clumps of baking powder. See, like these clumps like that. If that just ends up unmixed, it tastes awful. Baking powder doesn't taste good. And mix it in. I still need to add my liquid, my coconut milk, but I like to give this a brief mix first just to gauge where I'm at with moisture content. Because the last thing I want to do is add too much coconut milk and then have a hard time forming them into balls. So with this, I know that 1 tablespoon of coconut milk is definitely safe. See, when I tried it with the orange sweet potato, the orange yams, like I didn't have to add any coconut milk at all and it was still too wet. So it just didn't work at all. So you just want to work the coconut milk in a tablespoon at a time. And see, this is why the drier the sweet potato, the better it is, because the more coconut flavor you can incorporate. So if you're wondering, okay, is that enough? Just try to form it into a ball. And if it rolls easily, doesn't stick to your hand, that's perfect. But it also should be moist. It shouldn't be really hard and stiff and whatnot. So I think 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna stop right there. And that's it. Let's roll them. Rolling balls. Now you can make these as big or as small as you like, within reasons. But I think a good size is about, if you take a teaspoon, like a measuring spoon, and then you sort of like heap it a little bit like this, that seems to me to be a decent size. And then you just roll them into a ball. In Thailand now, they also have these stuffed with cheese, like mozzarella cheese inside, and it's kind of like a novelty item. You can try that too. So it's a really forgiving recipe. All right, so I got all my balls rolled out. Now you can make this far in advance, by the way. Just make it, put it in the fridge. You can fry them up tomorrow if you want. That's another great thing about this recipe. So I've got some just vegetable oil, frying oil. I'm gonna fry them at 325-degree Fahrenheit. That's a little lower than normal. And I don't want this to go any higher than 350 because I want to give them lots of time to fry. That's how they're going to develop a crisp crust. If the oil is too hot, they'll brown really fast, cook really fast, and the outside will be soft. You don't want that. I'm going to start dropping these. And right away, I want to be moving them around because if you take your time dropping them, what's going to happen is the bottom side of these balls are going to get a dark patch. Okay, so as soon as they go down, you want to be moving them around all the time. With this recipe, you're kind of a slave to the stove because in the beginning they sink and you need to stir them, otherwise they get a brown patch. And after a while, as they lose more water, they'll float. And then you still need to stir them because otherwise the part that's above the oil is not going to get nicely browned. So you're kind of stuck, okay? And you want to give these a solid 5 minutes to fry. Any less than that, again, you're not going to get as crisp of a crust. So even if the color looks done, give them 5 minutes anyway. Oh yeah, check these out. So it's been 5 minutes and I want to get them out. And then I like to put them on paper towel rather than a rack because I find that it allows the surface oil to be absorbed. And then I just kind of roll them around a little bit so that all the surface oil can absorb. Or you can put another one on top and roll them like this. And that's it. Don't eat them right now. They're so hot, they will burn you so bad. Trust me, I've done it many, many times. By the way, once they've been through the paper towel station, I like to let them cool off on a rack because it doesn't trap steam and so it stays crisp longer. But speaking of crisp, this is not something you make in the morning and have for dessert, okay? Like this is, it's street food, right? You buy it, you eat it right away. They're crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, which means the softness inside is gonna make the outside soggy quick. So you wanna eat this while they're still warm, preferably, okay? And let me just show you what they look like on the inside. Ooh, you can hear that the outside's a little crisp. Oh yes, see that? It's got a little bit of airiness, but it's really sort of soft and squishy and so good. Ooh, I can smell that coconut. I can't begin to tell you how good this is. You can really taste the sweet potato. As you saw, there's a ton of sweet potato. Imagine mochi, okay? That chewiness, but much softer and airier. I mean, it's so good. They're so addictive. Like I can stand here and just eat half of these all in one go. They're so dangerous. Back when I was little, in my elementary school, they used to sell 5 of these balls, 5 balls, about this size, for 1 baht. Okay, you can Google that 1 baht and see what that means in your currency. But I used to love it because I thought it was such a good deal. And they would come in like little paper cones. Oh, it was my favorite thing ever. So I hope you give this a try. They are so easy. And again, these should be eaten fresh. So maybe if you have people over, you can just fry them off, you know, live as people are there. It'll be so fun. The recipe, as always, will be on hatthaikitchen.com. When you make it, send me a photo on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I am also on Pinterest as well if you are a pinner. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, make sure you do so you don't miss an episode. And click that little bell icon as well so you get a notification when I post a new video. If you love the show and you want to support us, check out our Patreon link in the description below. And I will see you next time for your next delicious Thai meal.